Travis Scott's Cactus Jack label was formed in March 2017, and with Travis's recent rise to fame at this time and being one of the hottest rappers out, he wanted to use his talent to boost others into the industry. But it turns out that joining his label did the exact opposite, killing almost every artist's career that signed to the label. Also, if you haven't already subscribed, I am a new channel and would appreciate you liking and subscribing to help me out. Smokepurpp was the first artist to take on the Cactus Jack curse. Travis gave him a feature for his album called Fingers Blue, but nothing else really came of it, and then Smokepurpp left the label in 2019. But before he left, all there was silence. And this is honestly a common occurrence when it comes to this label, and really shines heavily on the other artists with Cactus Jack. They make one project, people give a positive reaction, and then they just disappear. And I'll be honest, I don't think Smokepurpp was going to blow up anywhere close to becoming a household artist, because his music is kind of trash, but him being trapped with his label definitely affected it. And after Smokepurpp, the next artist signed was Sheck Wes, and there was actually real potential here. Oh, to go back to 2018 and listen to Mo Bamba, you really just had to be there. Sheck Wes at this time arguably had the biggest song in the world, and with all eyes on him, he secured a Cactus Jack deal. Later in that year, Sheck Wes also dropped his first album under the Cactus Jack umbrella called Mud Boy, and honestly, it really wasn't that bad. He had hits, he had the hype, and he had energy at his shows, but then everything just went dark. He had a few singles that were released, but none of them even came nearly as close to as popular as Mo Bamba. I mean, they weren't going to. Mo Bamba was a huge song, but the only song that he released as a single that I would even consider a hit would be his appearances on Jack Boys, the Cactus Jack label album, and Stick with Jid. And along with that, we still have no word to this day on a new album besides Travis himself saying that everyone in Cactus Jack is going to drop before Utopia comes out, which doesn't even seem that realistic anymore since the Utopia rollout is going strong, and I don't think they're gonna try and combat with Utopia. Even though Sheck Wes had a pretty rocky career after Mo Bamba and Mud Boy, I still don't think he got the worst of Cactus Jack. SoFaygo, undeniably the worst case of the Cactus Jack curse. Knock Knock started trending on TikTok, which brought a ton of eyes on Faygo, and after this, his third mixtape After Me dropped, and he had officially signed to Cactus Jack in February of 2021. Later on in the year, he announced Pink Hearts by July, and there was a good amount of hype from his fans. People were excited, and when people were asking who is next up, his name was thrown around a lot, and he was even featured on Apple Music's Next Up page. Well, that did not last for long, because just like every other Cactus Jack member at this time, Faygo left everyone in the dark. And besides from a few new singles, Pink Hearts didn't release for another year and a half after that announcement on November 11th, 2022. For a new artist, that is a crazy time stretch, especially since it was announced so early. There was pretty much no hype left at that point, and sales definitely showed that because the album didn't even chart. And that isn't saying that this album had no hits, there definitely were some, and it was just the lack of hype that really made the album flop. And SoFaygo was really the artist who brought to light how badly the label dealt with up-and-coming artists, and it almost all relied on a feature from a bigger or more relevant artist to carry them, or Travis himself to have a song even be talked about. And there was no room to grow organically from the label like some other labels allow their artists to do. But to end it on a little bit of a positive note with Faygo, he did just release Go Plus, his newest album, which is actually pretty fire, so even if the sales aren't that good, at least it sets up a good reception for his next album, because the whole internet was kind of clowning him for a good amount of time. And that brings us to a new question as well, because failing careers left and right. Now, was the label the problem, or is it an artist problem? Because not everyone from Cactus Jack had a failing career. Signed in 2018 along with Sheck Wes was Toliver, unarguably the biggest artist with Cactus Jack, besides Travis obviously. Toliver was on the eyes of everyone after the release of Astroworld with his hit feature Can't Say being one of the biggest hits from Astroworld, and nobody knew who he was, and this changed everything. And Don Toliver goes on today to prove everyone wrong about all of Cactus Jack having hits on hits, a new album, and a great tour. He took Can't Say and turned it into something that the other artists of Cactus Jack couldn't do with their hits. So this brings us back to the question, is it the label or the artists themselves? Well, the label did have other things happen, and it's kind of the elephant in the room when you talk about Travis Scott, which stopped music for a little bit. And I don't really want to talk about that because literally everyone and their mom knows every little detail about Astrofest, and I'll just sound like a broken record. So that delayed album drops from SoFaygo, Don Toliver, and Sheck Wes is just kind of doing nothing. So is there anything that can actually save this label? Well, we all know that Travis is dropping Utopia, and honestly, the only way I can see Faygo and Sheck coming back fully is if they have an amazing 10 out of 10 feature on Utopia that shows their full potential. And I don't mean like a mediocre, like, oh, that song was good. It has to be like a Can't Say level feature that they can build off of. But we don't even know if they'll be on there, so it could be the end of the label, at least for now. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like and comment what you thought. Subscribe as well if you want more videos. And along with that, if you do want other style videos like this with other labels and their history, just say that. And on that note,